Alright, I think I'm going to go ahead and just pull the tranny and stuff out of it right now. So all I got to do is pull the nut off over here. And the sprocket will come out that side. And then everything will just flip out this side easy. It'll eliminate, 20 pounds, 30 pounds of crap. I don't have to lift. So I was looking at the chain. I'm not sure if I want to cycle this thing out or not. You look at the wear of the chain on how much it moves up on the link over here. Yeah, so I was debating if that was enough to worry about. Doesn't look too bad on this side. It was looking a little loose over to me on the back side here. Lifts up pretty far off the hook there. It's probably alright though. I'll look it over. I do abuse my primary chains quite a bit, but we'll take a look at it. It's definitely used, so it wouldn't be overtime to get rid of it. Put in a customer bike. It's broken in. Alright, I'm going to yank this thing apart. First thing I do is get the key over there out of the way for the lock tab. I used to not lose it, but the problem is the nuts kept falling off, so you tighten the nuts just enough to keep them so you can unscrew them by hand or on the bike, but the problem is they work loose and the nut falls off. I had the nut fall off twice when I was pushing in the line, fall on the ground. So I started using a lock tab just enough so it won't unscrew. There's probably so many times it's loose in there. Alright, so 1.25 inches. Get the big tools out. So they're not very tight. I learned a long time ago, if you tighten them real tight, you can't change the sprocket of the track very easily. So you leave them just enough to hold them. No extra. Okay, if we're lucky the sprocket will come off, but it probably won't. A good sprocket won't come off, a crappy one will. Nope, just enough, don't want to come off. Too lazy to use a tool to pull it, so we'll just knock it out with a hammer. Okay. Take the motor sprocket off there. That one I tighten it more because it don't come apart of the truck. Put the tools in here. Everything goes in a bucket. Okay, you don't not need a tool to get the clutch apart. Pull the nut off. Put it back on. A few threads. Do the same thing on this one. Now you can pull all the other nuts off. Like that. Now as you pull the bottom one off, you pull the top, you just give it a whack and it'll come right off. It's not the best for the studs, but works for me. I've been doing it for years that way. It hasn't really damaged anything. Okay, now we got an 1.5 inch nut. That one's still tight. That's good. Looks like the lock tab's on there just enough to hold it. torque on it. All right, check for the big tools. Ooh, usually got a pull that one. It's almost coming off of that one. Test her out. Usually that doesn't come off that easy. Usually gotta have a puller. Must be getting broken in over the years. There's the unit. Nice and light. Now you start seeing weird stuff. Because it's a race bike, it's not stock in there. There are modifications been done. Alright, so first modification is there's a cast iron truck trap door in there. So, cast iron. Next modification is it's got 6 bolts holding instead of 4. That one was added and this one was added. So you got 2 extra bolts holding it together. And this has been modified here because there's other modifications on the inside. So, if you notice, the bearing doesn't really engage very much in high gear. There's been some changes going on in here. I don't recall it being that deep into the bearing though. That's just about completely off the bearing. And that's kind of binding. So that's supposed to be that hard to turn. Something's not right in there. Some issues in the tranny. To me it looks like the high gears in there are way too deep. I don't know why it's that deep. Don't recall it being that deep. So maybe it slid on there when I pulled the clutch off. I don't know. Not sure. But we'll find out. Where's my half-inch? Those are 2 extra ones. Okay. You just tap it out with the other side. Sprocket will come off and the whole thing will come out. There's the sprocket. And there's the tranny. Ah, I think I found the metal. Yeah, that was unexpected. Third gear has parted company. Not sure when that happened. It was running fine when I shut it off. Going down the track at 125 miles an hour. So the appears to be 2 teeth are not needed. 2.5 teeth are gone. So that's not usually how your tranny is supposed to look when you pull it apart. And this is pretty rough over here also on that gear. A piece of that's missing. You can see that it's not quite stock bearings in there. That's why the transmission doesn't break anymore. A little rough, but still good. Self-aligning double row ball. Not stock. Big ass roller bearing down there, definitely not stock. They have a little chicken shit needle bearing that fails all the time. And the case has been reinforced everywhere. It's Maxim weld on everything. So there's the more metal. So that was the sliver. I didn't know what it was. It's called parts of transmission. I think I'll throw the oil away now. Yeah, this one usually doesn't break tranny parts. That's the other motor. Obviously, any motor can break anything if it wants to. Gritsy, gritsy. My drain plug does not leak. I welded it solid. That's how they don't leak. They can't leak if they're not there. All right. Get out of the way. So unlike most transmissions, when I blow the tranny, it doesn't blow the case apart, see? It's a little stronger than stock. But there might be a bent shaft. I have to check those. We're going to be cycling out a bunch of parts out of this tranny. Probably most everything in there, I bet. Because I think I lost my high gear, which is a close ratio gear. That's an expensive one. But, oh well. The bike lets you know when it wants new parts. It wants new parts. Hopefully the main shaft's not too bent because it's special. So is the counter shaft. It's an XR 750 counter shaft, and they don't sell those anymore, I don't think. And if you can afford to buy one, it's probably 500 bucks. Hopefully it's still good. Yeah, that was third gear. I was pulling hard in third gear too. I don't know why it's broken, but yeah, see that tooth is gone. Which means this gear is probably time to come out. So that's a close ratio. High gear, 18 tooth, 26 tooth. So that failed. This is a late model low gear. Still feels all right, but the gear next to it does not look the best. Oh, that's second gear. Duh. Or no, that's third. That's why it doesn't look the best. There we go. I'm going to get down there and see if there's anything noticeably. This gear's wobbling, this one's not. So this gear I run extremely loose, because this is the one I lock up in neutral. When I rev the bike up in neutral, warming it up. So I purposely put about 5-10 thou clearance in that damn thing, so it doesn't lock up on me. I've lost 3 of them from revving in neutral. For some reason, they don't like to be running at 7,000 RPM for a minute or so warming the bike up in neutral. This is on the top of the tranny, it's dry. Didn't get any oil on it, so it locks it up. So I loosen the piss out of them and they don't seize up anymore. Now I'm going to put Tribodine oil in it, so I probably won't have a problem anyway. I won't make it quite so loose, because the looser this gear is, the more it works these teeth and cause it to break. Kind of like what it did here. See, as this thing wobbles around, it's got a lot of extra clearance in it. And that lets the teeth disengage. When the teeth disengage, it causes issues. Issues lead to blown up parts. So you fix one problem and it screws up another one. I can hear the clearance in there. That's up and down. It's looser than it's supposed to be, so it's worn quite a bit. Hopefully the shaft is not torn up because that's a special shaft. Everything's special in this tranny. Alright, well, there you go.